Have you ever heard the theme song for the cartoon show Arthur? It's a 90s show from back in the day and goes a little something like, and I say, hey, what a wonderful kind of day. We can learn to love and play, get along with each other. Yeah, man, that is a banger. I feel like the theme songs from when there were cartoon shows in the 90s and beyond, they just hit different level. They were something different. Now Arthur, he's a different type of animal. He's some sort of rodent. I don't want to say anteater. He's some sort of muskrat or one of them things, and he's just out there living his life. He's trying to do the right thing. Arthur's out there. He's got this sister. Her name's DW. Yeah. We don't know what that stands for, but DW's out there always causing havoc on Arthur's life, and he's pissed. He's pissed at his sister, but they learn to get along with each other. Such a banger, dude. That song stuck in my head all day. I'm gonna let it get stuck in my head all day, and that's just the way it's gonna be. I had a dream the other night, and it was I'm a dreamer, right? I have these dreams, and most of the time I'll be having nightmares, but this time I had a dream that was worth dreaming, and I'll tell you about it. So, put my head against a pillow a few nights ago and wake up in my dreamland. So, I was in a casino. With all these people, a bunch of people I knew, especially this one guy, and he taught me a couple things in the casino, how to do things in the casino. I'm not a gambler, right? So in this dream, I'll be on one of these slot machines, and I'm slotting the slot machine. I'm not sure how much money I put into it, but sure enough, eventually I hit one of these jackpot things, one of these little jackpot events on the slot machine. So here I am. I'm like, here we go. This is it. So the money keeps going up, and I keep on getting more and more money. So it starts with a few dollars, $100, $1,000, tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then I start getting into the millions. And I just keep winning, and that jackpot went all the way up to about 3.6 mil. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, holy crap. The slot machine gave me an option, right? So that slot machine gave me an option, keep on going. And all the people around me were like, keep on going. But I'm like, 3.6 mil. I could do a lot with that money. So I cashed out. I pulled out the little slip. $3.6 million on that slip. People were like, dude, you could have got so much more, man. This is all I need. All I need is this 3.6 million. So take that 3.6 million and I bring it over to the counter. And now I feel a little bad because I know these people are working at the counter and they see this young guy's won 3.6 mil. They haven't even ever seen this much money doing this job in their life. I just want it. So I go up, do all the paperwork, super realistic. There's paperwork I'm doing in the dream. The lady says to me, after all the taxes and everything you need to pay, I guess there's things I need to pay. I don't know anything about this in my real life, but in the dream, it's like, hey, I'm filling out paperwork and doing the administrative duties. And she says, all right, good to go. At the end of everything, after I pay all my dues, I'm walking out of there with like 2.9 mil. Let's say 2.8 mil I'm walking out with. And I said, thank you so much. She said, okay, do you want to cash it out? When's the earliest you want to cash it out? I guess I have to take it to the bank because so much money. The casino doesn't have that much money just sitting there, so I got to take it to the bank. And she said, the earliest you could do it is tomorrow. And I said, yeah, I want to do it tomorrow. I want to do it as soon as I can because I'm like, hey, what a wonderful kind of day. And like, just so excited. Thinking in my dream, I'm like, I could buy myself like beautiful house in the area I live in. I could just upgrade, be mortgage free. Don't need to do anything. I could just sit back, buy a house, sell our current house, and we're gonna have money to spare. I'm about to have a baby, but to have a baby, I'm not gonna have any more mortgage. I'm gonna be able to do whatever we want as a family and freedom. That's basically what I felt. It was like freedom. So go to take the slip, and I said, thank you very much. We'd set up an appointment with the bank. There was a family event the next day, and the word spread. The people I was with spread to, some people found out, including my dad. My dad found out. So I'm at a family function, and he didn't know much about it. He just heard I won big. So my dad's a hardworking guy. He earned his keep. And he was looking at me at the family event. I passed, we just showed up. We just rolled up. I don't think the whole family knew. So he found out somehow, and he looks at me. He's like, son. I'm like, yes, father. He said, was it big? Did you do good? I said, yes, daddy. I did good. Yes, papa. I did good. And he gave me a smile and a nod of approval as if I had earned that money. And deep down, I felt kind of wrong because I didn't feel like I earned it. But there was just a part of me that I felt freedom anyway. I didn't care. I didn't earn that money. I won it. I won it fair and square. And it just something just felt so weird about it and so good. It was like a guilty pleasure. I won. I'm taking home 2.8 mil, and I just felt like, freedom. It felt so good. So a little bit of time went on in that dream, and next thing I know, I'm waking up. I woke up in the real life, and I was upset. I was like, whoa, what's going on here? That wasn't real. It took me a minute to realize, and I was genuinely a little sad. I felt a little bit sad that wasn't a real dream. It wasn't real life. It was a real dream, don't get me wrong. That was a real dream, but it wasn't real. It wasn't reality. And I was sad. I woke up sad a couple days ago, and I haven't had one of those dreams where I'll be feeling sad when I wake up because it wasn't real. Most of my dreams are semi-nightmares. For example, last night I even had a nightmare. Some would call it a nightmare. My wife, who's pregnant right now, in the dream, she wasn't the one pregnant. It was another woman. But my wife didn't have me as a primary partner. It was that other woman. They were together. And that other lady was pregnant. She was a husky blonde lady. She even had a southern accent. She was a husky southern lady, and she had the baby. Both of them were saying it was my baby, but I never recalled having the intercourse with her. I never recalled doing any sperm banking and infusions and whatnot with the southern blonde lady. They were assuring me that was my baby in there. Something about it didn't seem right, so I went on in my day in the dream, and then I went along, and there was a river, a channel, and the locals, they were telling me, don't go in that water. There's sharks in there. There's all sorts of sea creatures that are going to get you. There's bad currents. And it was almost as if I was walking along Italy, and the sea channels, the rivers or whatever that they row the boats in, and romantic rowing. That romantic rowing, it was almost as if it was one of those, and I decided to take a dip in the water. Now, they told me not to do it, but I did it anyway. And I felt my legs. There's sharks and sea creatures trying to get me. So I was in there for a good 5 minutes, and then I finally got out on the other side and got out of there, and I was soaking wet. I'm like, why'd I do that? And then there was a convenience store. There was a gas station corner store, and I was in there, and my wife was there with me, and we were in there, and she had got upset with me for some reason. I don't know what I did, but she got upset and she ran off, and she took off. And then it was just me in the convenience store, and I walk out, and there's havoc. There's fire engines, fire trucks. There's smashed, and there's car accidents everywhere, and I didn't know what to do. And then I basically just woke up, and that was that. I woke up, and she was out of the bed. She was already downstairs feeding her unborn baby in the womb. She was feeding that thing with some fruit for breakfast, and feeding our cat, Leo the cat. She was feeding him, and everything was good. I went and gave her a hug, and I was like, "Are you mad at me?" And she's like, "No, why would I be mad at you?" And I said, "Good." So everything worked out there. I'm a dreamer, man. I always have these crazy dreams, and sometimes they're for the best, and sometimes they're for the worst. Most of the time they're for the worst. Most of the time they're nightmares, but that's just that, man. We got snow on the ground out here. It's snowing. It's not snowing, but we got snow on the ground. So that means there's an accumulation of these white particles on the ground, and we have a few inches of it. I'm not a litterer. I don't like to litter, and littering includes, I don't care who you are, it includes spitting out your gum wherever you are. So if you're spitting out your gum on the ground, that's littering. And for whatever reason, man, I just feel I get, sometimes I'll spit out my gum when there's snow there. I'll just spit out my gum. A little white speck on white specks. Doesn't feel like it counts. Doesn't feel like it counts when I'm spitting out my gum in the snow. But when that snow melts, everything goes away, my gum stays. And I need to remember that. So moving forward, I'm not going to spit out my gum anymore. And I'm going to just keep things, wrap it up and throw it in the garbage. And I guess like littering's littering, but when you're littering, you're putting it on the ground. But when you throw it in the trash, it's technically going in the ground too. So are you really doing the right thing? Is that trash going in the ground when you think you're doing the right thing already? But maybe it's just all about putting it in the right place. That's that. We gotta keep talking about it. We got a baby on the way, and we're talking about limiting its screen time. You know, we're talking game plan. Are we gonna let it have the iPad? Are we gonna let it watch the TV? Are we going to let it play video games? And we're trying to be like, no, we don't want the iPad kid. We don't want the TV kid. We don't want it to be obsessed with the screens. And it's hard because monkey see, monkey do. And I'm the monkey do, and that baby will be the monkey see. And I love my screens. I love my screen time. I love playing games with my wife. We're a little gamer couple. We've grown to be a gamer couple. Got her a PlayStation 10 years ago, PlayStation 4. We were gaming together, and that's how we've been brought up as a relationship. So we're talking about it last night. We're like, we're not going to let our kid play video games, right? And she's like, no, we're not doing that. And I was like, yeah, good idea. We looked at each other, and we're like, who are we kidding? We're definitely gonna be a little gaming family. I feel like we're gonna have the three consoles in the living room, and I could see it already. It's gonna be lovely. It's gonna be a lovely time. I can't see shit. Decided to throw on some shades for the sunglasses because I was listening to the Arthur theme song. If you haven't heard it, throw it up on YouTube. It's like a Jamaican sounding song. It's like, and I say, hey, what a wonderful kind of day. We can learn to love and play, get along with each other. It's so cool, dude. It's honestly, man, like slept on. It's a slept on song, and you just gotta throw it on your iPod. Put it on your iPod. Just go for a little walk. Go for a little walk and listen to that. I think it's like It's a universal song. It doesn't even though it's from a child TV show from the 90s. I think it's a universal song that you could really just like play it now in 2025, and I think it actually goes a long way. Um, if we go and actually Arthur theme song lyrics, I got these sunglasses on for the podcast this time, and I can't see shit. I can't even see where my mouse is at. But if you go, if you go on there, it says every day when you're walking down the street and everybody that you meet has an original point of view, and I say, hey, what a wonderful kind of day if you can learn to work and play and get along with each other. You got to listen to your heart, listen to the beat, listen to the rhythm, listen of the street, open up your eyes, open up your ears, get together and make things better by working together. Like, isn't that really what life is all about? Come on, man. Like, that's a message. That's a message from the 90s. We're talking 30 years ago. And that still hasn't clicked with the world. And maybe, maybe one day everybody will just, throw on the Arthur theme song and just be like, oh man, whoever that was really knows what they were talking about. And I would, it's kind of weird. I can't see the mouse at all when I got these glasses on. Who sang that? Who sang it? I gotta give whoever artist. I gotta give whoever wrote that because I know they're gonna be listening to this. And Christopher Cross. Thanks, Chris. So, Christopher Cross seems like he is doing the Arthur theme song. And if you wrote that, buddy, you're ahead of your time because you have no idea what's going on nowadays. If you're still alive, oh man, you're probably thinking back to your old lyrics and just hoping the world is listening to that. It's just something. Like, we got to get along with each other because people are fighting, people are not happy. But hopefully everybody can we got so much stuff that's just becoming universal. We talking about video games, like everybody had their own consoles and everybody would have to play on their own consoles. But now on these consoles, you're starting to get this cross play where you can play with other consoles and you can do all this stuff. There's this like multiverse things, right? Like there's TV shows where other TV shows are crossing over. We have, we got like entertainment where you got people in the WWE, they're fighting, and then all of a sudden live streamers are coming on there and they're getting speared by WWE guys, and everybody's coming together. So I think we're on the right path, but there's still a big separation, especially in politics. And I think we just need to universally agree on things and get it together because, as Christopher Cross said, you gotta walk with the rhythm, walk to the beat, listen to the voice, and listen to your streets, something like that. It's really important that we gotta do that. And you just can't give up. You can't give up on what you're doing. Like, I'll be honest with you. I did this whole podcast once already. I filmed 35 minutes of straight podcasting. Went to re-listen to it, had these shades on. The thing wasn't even recording. I did 35 minutes and all I had was just had the video and the audio wasn't good. So scrapped it. I was so pissed. I was like, God, I was so mad. And just when I thought things were going good, I was talking shit on my podcast. The last podcast I did, I was talking a lot of shit about myself and I was really down on myself. And I was like, things aren't going to work out. The title of the podcast was even "This Podcast is Falling Apart." And I was just stressing out. I was like, damn, like things aren't going the way I thought it would. But Now, but if I compare it to the first podcast I did, it's just different, man. Like, now I got this video. I figured out a new system on how to edit. I got the sunglasses on. I'm feeling like I'm in a bit of a vibe. I was thinking, like, how can I even get things going? I was like, sometimes I think about trying to post on Reddit about, like, hey, listen to my podcast. Nobody gives a shit about you on Reddit, right? And then I was talking in my last podcast about how I got to think outside the box. So last night I was like, what can I do? What could I do to get this people to listen to this? So I actually created a TikTok. I posted like 4 TikTok videos, so little clips of my last podcast, like a few of the podcasts with the videos. I posted some clips. I like took some 30-second clips, and there's like, you can put captions on it. And then, like, I've never even TikTok before, but now I'm a TikToker. I like became a TikToker overnight. I got more views on the TikTok than I even have on YouTube, like in a night. And then I had like a couple nice people commenting on there. They're like, you got this, man. Like, just keep on going, be persistent. Like, things are gonna work out for you. And I was like, wow, the TikTok community, who would have thought? I never knew they were so nice on there. So thanks, TikTok. Thanks for being so nice, man. Like, this one dude like left like 3 comments on my video, and he was like dedicated. He even reposted one of them. I was like, dude, I have 0 followers. He was my first follower. He just like TikTok is super nice. So I'm gonna just like keep TikToking a little bit, because I just threw like my YouTube link on there, and then like I think I already have like over 1,000 views on that thing, on that TikTok. And I don't know, man, I was like, sick, let's go. And then like I saw a couple people from TikTok even go to my YouTube. I couldn't believe it. I was like, thought outside the box. Now I'm more of like an Instagram, Facebook reel type of guy, and that's what I will be getting on, because that's my forte. That's what I know how to do. And never been a TikToker, but I think that's what all the kids are doing these days, and a lot of heat on TikTok. So I went on there, and yeah, last night after we watched a movie, we watched Gladiator 2. Now, let me tell you about Gladiator 2. We watched Gladiator 1 recently, okay? And going back to the 90s, and Gladiator 1 was produced, and I think, it probably took a couple years, but it was released in 2020. Gladiator 2 released in... Gladiator 2 was released in 2000. Gladiator 2, 2000, and what a movie, what a story. Maximus the Gladiator. He had a story where he was the leader of some sort of empire, some sort of large army, Roman Empire army. He was a big general. They had the emperor who wanted him to take over the throne, I believe. Maximus declined. All he wanted to do was go back to his family and his homeland. He was a farmer. He just wanted to go do that. He declined the offer. The empire did not like that. The emperor didn't like that. So they went ahead and went to his home village, and they actually killed his wife and his son. They burned them alive. And Maximus got taken as a prisoner, and he had to see his wife and son burned, and then they took him away. They took him far away. And what they did with Maximus is they made him a slave, and they put him to fight as a gladiator. And gladiators back then, right? The gladiators back then were like what we would see maybe some UFC fighters as today, except instead of having these health and safety regulations of the UFC fighters, these guys are going in and dying. They're fighting till the death and killing each other like it's no big deal. It's like, okay, yeah, we're going into war, and going in there, and we're going to fight, and I'm probably going to die today. And it was just no biggie. It was like the expectation was someone was going to die. It's just like another day, no big deal to them. And I don't know, that's just the way things were back then, I guess, right? So anyway, Maximus becomes a gladiator, and at the end of the movie, spoiler alert, fast forward 15 seconds if you don't want to hear it, but he dies with honor and that's the end of Maximus. And then turns out Maximus had a son who had he didn't. I don't think they knew. I think they put the pieces together, but it turns out Maximus's son. He had another son that was not burned alive, but he turns out to be the next gladiator in Gladiator 2. And I don't even remember this guy's name. His name was Loomis or something like that. He actually had two names. This guy, I must say, I'm a type of guy that likes to watch up-to-date movies, and I like to watch movies that are new because the effects and the graphics are so good. But Gladiator 1 fucked up Gladiator 2. Gladiator 1 was so much better of a movie, had a better storyline. I don't know. I feel like the story was so good in Gladiator 1 that you couldn't really top it. So Gladiator 2, Maximus' son, didn't have that much of a better story. The story wasn't as meaningful. It was a little bit because he's like, I want to be like my daddy, but nah, man, sorry, buddy. Your papa was a great man, and hard to beat that. So crazy story, crazy stuff, how they used to do that. And the one thing I cannot wrap my head around is that now these stadiums they're doing the gladiator fights in, they're like big NFL stadium, football stadium style arenas, and there's people, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of people. And they do a lot of talking, like the royalty, the emperors, they're up there and they're speaking to the crowds. And my question is, like, how is everybody hearing them? They don't have microphones, they don't have speakers. How is this even working? Maybe I'll have to do some research, but maybe the Romans I think they were pretty technical and sophisticated, but maybe they had like some sort of engineering in those stadiums where you were able to hear people talking somehow. But like they'd be, I don't know, like there would be like the emperors talking from their seats and people seem to be listening and understanding what they're saying. And I know there's no electronics back then, and also people will be talking in the middle of the battle arena, and it seems like people are listening and understanding what they're saying. So maybe they have a crazy echo system that they could hear people with echoes, or maybe there's something. Maybe everybody is super quiet. Hundreds of thousands of people are quiet and they have to listen. If they don't listen, they get killed. I'm not sure how that worked. That's my only question, and maybe I'll have to do some research because I'm assuming there was some sort of technology they used to hear. But yeah, no microphones, no like speaking devices, and yeah, it was a different time back then. I was like just trying to compare it to if, like, we got the Super Bowl coming, or if you're listening, the Super Bowl has happened, and Kendrick Lamar did his Super Bowl show. Imagine Kendrick doing the Super Bowl show without any mics and people just sitting there listening. So something I was a little curious about. How did they make that work? I have no idea. But I'm one that can put my imagination to work. I'm a dreamer. And I'm like, hey, what a wonderful kind of day. Today's going to be a good day. We got going to be going to the gym with my buddy Connor, who is on a podcast with the boys that we did. And we're going to go to the gym. We're going to do a nice workout. We're going to get jacked. We're going to go pump some iron. And then after that, we're going to hop in the sauna. Maybe we're going to see some other characters in the sauna. Going to maybe see my buddy Noah Chandler that I met in the sauna, who I still owe a podcast to. We're going to meet up with him sometime. Maybe I got to schedule that maybe next week. Maybe he's available. Do a podcast with him. He'll be my first real guest. I want to interview him. I want to do a proper interview with Noah. And he's a young guy who influencer, and want to hear his side of the story and hear what he's got to say. Maybe we'll run into one of the Zab twins again. And one of the Zab twins left a comment on my video because I commented on his, and I said, hey, I'm the guy from the sauna. One of the guy, I think his name's David, he responded. He actually responded, and I was like, wow, wow, one of the Zap twins responded. He said, "Hey man, like awesome, like so cool seeing you do this podcast. This is awesome." And pretty much, and he just said, "Sorry, I didn't really speak up in the sauna. I just don't really like to cross my personal life with my work life." And dude, I totally respect that. Um, yeah, super cool for me. This isn't work for me. It's not work yet. I don't think it ever will be. I'm doing something I enjoy doing. So I wouldn't count it as a day of work in my life. Editing videos, editing podcasts. This is just what I like to do. It's what I've always liked to do. And I've taken too much time off doing this. And this is what's making me happy. And I was talking so much shit on myself. I was like, my last podcast number 10, I was just talking shit on myself. I wasn't like happy with how things are going. I thought maybe my quality of the videos weren't good, and like the audio wasn't good. But then I kind of re-listened to a couple of the first ones and compared it to now, and I was like, oh man, things are actually moving along. I'm on TikTok now. Like every day I'm like leveling up. So yeah, I don't know. I can't really compare myself to all the top podcasts out there, because they started probably similar to how I'm starting, just going for it and not really knowing what it's going to look like. And then I guess you just form your own style, and that's just what I'm doing. So never expected I'd just be like doing these solo podcasts in our office here, but I thought I'd be downstairs all the time doing it. But it turns out this is chill. It's like I'm in my isolated space and it's all good. So I'm just going to keep going with this and hope everybody likes it. And if you don't like it, that's fine. I like it. So I'm just going to keep doing it. And I guess it just doesn't matter anymore. Everything's going to be good. I just won't care. And I was getting a little focused on like viewership. I'm like, my videos are getting like less views, and I was getting down on myself, and it's just okay. Like it's okay. And I think everybody who's starting out, like I'm starting out right now, needs to just realize it's okay, and you're going to be all right. As long as you stay consistent and just keep doing it. And as long as you're having fun doing it, right? Like that's the big thing. So just have fun and don't take yourself too seriously. And the last podcast I just did, like I just did it, and it was an epic fail. I forgot to record the audio. I just was like talking, and I talked for over 35 minutes, and I was like, I got off, I stopped, and I sat back, and I was like, that was the best podcast I ever did. I was so happy. I was like, wow, I'm really starting to get the hang of it. And then I looked, and the thing didn't even record, and I was just like, oh, I was so pissed. I was like, and then I took my 5 minutes of getting mad at myself and being pissed. And then after that 5 minutes, I just took a breath and did it again. And here I am. And I hope it was good as the last one. No one will know what the last one was, but I feel pretty good about this one too. And that's all good. I'll get it going and get it posted, and then we're going to film another one after that. So gonna go to the gym with my buddy, and hopefully we'll meet some new friends, and we will catch you on the next episode. Thank you so much for watching, and if you made it this far, really appreciate it, and we will talk to you next time.